I kind of think of Shelley as like the Justice League. Everyone talks about, Brindley Cannon, but they're kind of like the Justice League. They just have a nice set of characters that back them up.
When it comes to high school sports, East Idaho never gets its due.
I ran into Jeremy Hess, the AD of Grace Lutheran, and, he was just excited. And then, I'm just talking to him and he goes, we have 7 girls. So just amazing.
But the East Idaho Prepcast has changed that, covering the biggest sports stories from Salmon all the way down to Bear Lake.
And again, Grace is always that team just kind of lurking, like, yeah, there's Grace. They they don't have social media, but you know what? They have footballs, they got grass, and they got pads, and they use all those very well.
It's the East Idaho Prepcast with Sean Kane on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, breaking down top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of Idaho High School athletics. It's the East Idaho Prepcast After Dark. Let's bring in our East Idaho expert and insider, Sean Kane, the coach who knows how to win championships. What's up, Sean?
Hey, obviously we follow the 8-man football, and it's such a great show, and just, they got great coaches on there and insiders, and, they're talking about winning championships. And man, I've been thinking about it all day, and talking to coaches and things, and like how hard it is to win a championship and what it takes and all the factors that go into it. And, a lot of times, certain players are going to get a lot of credit, maybe the coaches, but in all honesty, it takes so many moving parts to win a championship. And guess what, Joel? Christmas has come early because Thanksgiving's next week, but this week is state championship football. And to give credit where it's due, football is a long season. You have to really have the dedication and focus. And so my hat's off to all the football teams across the state for making it to this weekend, because it is not easy. Semifinals are super hard. The season's hard, but they've all, made it to this weekend, and congrats to them.
Yeah, no doubt. And before we get into championship week, Sean, let's rewind a little bit and let's celebrate a player of the week and team of the week from last week. Like you said, it is so hard to get to that semifinal. It's hard to get to the playoffs, and it's really hard to get to the semifinals. It's almost impossible to get to that championship game. So let's celebrate those teams who got to that championship game, or an individual and a team who got to that championship game thanks to an incredible performance last weekend. Our player of the week from the East Idaho Prepcast, Sean, is Butte County's own Keaton Archibald. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. After losing to Hagerman, Sean, 30-14 in the regular season, they came back and won 50-22. Thanks a lot. Thanks in part part to Keaton Archibald.
Yeah, and Razor Duke there too. It could have been with Keaton Archibald as well. I mean, you could put them both there, but Keaton Archibald has been really good all year. I know he did come up a little injured in that game. I hope he's good to go this weekend up at the Kibbe Dome. I think he will be, but yeah, just someone, we don't always, get down to the lower classifications as much in football, and it's someone who has definitely been a shining light in East Idaho is Archibald, and well deserved of the player of the week for us here at East Idaho.
Yeah, definitely. But so what if he is injured, right? Well, he is injured. We'll see if he plays. The 8-man Prepcast talked about that. But look for Ross and Twitchell, of course, and Razor Shotgun Duke to carry the load there. And Butte County is loaded with talent. They got great blocking schemes. They're going to run the ball. They might throw a little bit too. Looking forward to that one from Butte County. But congrats to Keaton Archibald of Butte County, our East Idaho Prepcast player of the week, helping his team win the semifinal matchup 50-22. And with that, Sean, let's go to our team of the week from the East Idaho Prepcast. West Side, the West Side Pirates. Like you said, Sean, do not count out the West Side Pirates in the preseason and the postseason. They turn around after barely beating Aberdeen during the regular season, 14-12. They defeat Aberdeen handily, blanked them, shut them out, 29-0. This last Saturday, junior quarterback Jaden Fuller to senior Crew Sage a whole lot. Crew Sage ran the football. And then, hey, he also has a brother, the sophomore Drake Sage, who had a nice night as well. The entire team, though, in overall, Westside Pirates, 29-0, blanking Aberdeen, getting themselves to that championship game.
Yeah, and we talked about a little about this last night on Gem State game day, kind of previewing the championships and going over the semifinals. But kind of I'm just going to echo what I said last night is Westside finds a way to go to the playoffs and tweak what they do, not a lot, but enough just to be better. They find a way to get better. Everyone can talk about we're good. Westside is better when it comes to playoff football. As of late, the last few years, they've just been so good. They're looking to go back to back. They just come up with new things. It's not really new. It kind of looks the same, but I felt like in that game, that semifinal, they passed the ball a little more, and it really kind of disrupted Aberdeen. And let's not discredit the Westside defense, right? That's a defense that's been in a ton of defensive battles. And this game against Declo, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Most people would say that. And the Westside defense, I think, has stepped up as well. We talk a lot about the playmakers, and some of them play both sides of the ball, obviously. But the defense as a team has really stepped up as the playoffs have went on. So congratulations to the Pirates of Westside in Dayton, Idaho.
Yeah, man. Awesome. And there's a lot more information coming your way, folks, but that's going to be during the broadcast. We've been talking to coaches, Westside Declo coaches. We've been talking to the coaches from the other broadcasts that we'll talk about in a little bit for those games. But we don't want to give up that information quite yet, Sean. So we're going to hold some of that information for the broadcast. And also, we talked a lot about that, like you teased, Sean. We talked about every matchup this coming weekend during the Gem State Game Day broadcast. So if you want more football, folks, go to the Gem State Game Day broadcast or a Prepcast, on IdahoSports.com. Whether you get your podcasts on IdahoSports.com's Facebook page, YouTube channel, X account, you can catch all of the Gem State Game Day there. So we have some really good information for that Westside Declo game, but we're going to hold on to that until the broadcast, Sean. But again, congrats to Westside for an incredible run and getting themselves the championship game. And again, also to Butte County's Keaton Archibald for his performance last week, helping his team get to the championship game. All right, Sean, with that said, we are at the championship week. Championship weekend is this coming weekend. Sean, 7 out of 12 teams from East Idaho, from the East Idaho districts or conferences are in the championship, man. 2 out of the 6 classifications are from East Idaho, have only East Idaho teams. What's going on? What's in the water here in East Idaho, Sean?
That's something that's been brought up a lot to me personally as a coach and just talking to different coaches. And I'll bring up Travis Hobson. He's an AD at Thunder Ridge now, but he was at Shelley, won a bunch of championships, came to Century, coached football, got him very far, semifinal runs, winning a lot of district titles. And one day me and him are having a conversation. It's really an odd conversation, right? Because he's 6 foot something, big, huge, redheaded offensive lineman, and me short, buck 80 soaking wet, tennis player. But me and him are really good friends. And I just go, what's the deal? We're always so
we're
competitive.
Really good.
We're always competitive. And you know what? It was a simple answer. And we just have really good coaches. When you go and look at these coaches, and Joel knows this because we get the opportunity to talk to most of these coaches, we have just phenomenal coaches. And also, when you have a good coach, you get good assistants or good people around you. And almost every coach I talk to, that's the first thing they go to is they get a good group to go with them. And I say the same thing. Like I always say, the kids make me look good. Like we've won a lot of state championships, but I'll be honest, the kids won them. I just put on the shirt or something and show up with the hat and look upset at the fence. But that's all the pictures are of me at a fence looking upset at something. But I bring in a lot of good assistants around me, and I've just always had a wealth of knowledge around me that's mentored me. And I think it's that you get good coaches that aren't so egotistic that they're the only ones running the show. They bring in the people that know what they're doing, and they do it really well. And that, I mean, how can you argue that 7 of 12 teams are from East Idaho? I mean, that's the kids, right? First, the kids, second, the coaches, third, the moms packing the lunches or whatever, the parents getting them there, right? So again, I think it's coaching, the kids, coaching, and then the families, because none of this works without family involvement and that participation in that community and that culture. But the culture is so good in East Idaho. At almost any sport, we've got a competitive team. So just, I want to say congratulations to all the coaches of football that have made it this far, and then all the other ones, and then all the other fall sports that are just so good this year.
Yeah, and I think in sports you can have grassroots initiatives, right? But it's in sports you usually have to have, like you said, Sean, coach. He has his scaffolding of assistants, and then you got to get the buy-in from the community. And I think in East Idaho, to piggyback off your coaches and assistants, obviously players number one, but you don't have but you can have great coaches and assistants, but if you don't have the players, like you said, you don't have a team. And so I think these good coaches are getting the buy-in from East Idaho. There's a tradition here in East Idaho where we're going to play good football. We're going to play hard. We're going to practice hard. Right. And we may not have as many like farm kids maybe as we used to historically. But that culture and that buy-in is there. That hard work and effort, that tradition of hard work and effort is there. And so, like my kids, they're not farm kids, but I want them to learn from that culture of working hard and getting up and going out and doing your chores or doing the workout or whatever it is. I like that culture. And so I think a lot of kids around here, they're used to that, or at least they're buying into that. But that still starts at the top of these great coaches and assistant coaches demanding that culture and that attention to working hard.
Yeah. And that's kind of the culture, I have with my team and my program is practice is going to be harder than any match you're ever going to play.
100%.
And that's something that echoes throughout East Idaho when I talk to different coaches from other sports, and football is, practice is, is where it happens, and you get it done. And especially in football, it's just late season, everything else is done. It's new trimesters, things have changed.
It's cold.
Football hasn't changed, right?
Right.
You still got to go to practice. You got to still make things work. And it's just knowing that I like the kids knowing that every day you come out, it's like you're going to have to work hard. The most issues I ever have is, something will happen at practice and a kid will text me and he'll be upset that he didn't practice well, right? I don't ever get a lot of texts like, man, I'm sorry I played so bad. It's more like I didn't practice as hard or, as well. And I go, well, you know what, there's tomorrow. But unfortunately for football, there's not a tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's a championship. One of them.
That's right. Now for sure. So we just, and folks out there in internet land, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, if you have thoughts on why East Idaho, I don't think it's a blip on the radar, Sean. Like I've said, I've been here 4 years now. But I know that you see the championship banners, right? Every basketball, football stadium you go into loaded with championships. So it's not just a blip on the radar the last few years. This has been going on for a while. And so those out there, chime in, let us know why does East Idaho continue to have a number of teams in every sport winning championships or in those championship matches and in the tournaments. It really is impressive. Sean, like I said, we've the Gem State Game Day crew, you and I and a handful of other knuckleheads from Idaho sports. We already had our show about the football matches, but between Rigby Eagle 6A, Skyline Hillcrest 5A, Sugar and Homedale 4A, Westside Declo 3A, Butte County Kendrick 2A. Of those 6 out of 7, because those are the ones that have East Idaho teams, which game are you most intrigued by?
Oh, wow.
I know. There are a lot of them. Let's choose one each.
All of them. Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm going to go just because I'm broadcasting it, and I feel vested.
Yeah.
I feel vested. Get it? Vested?
I got it. I like it.
I'm going to go Skyline Hillcrest. It's the District 6 rivalry. There's so many implications. Hillcrest knocked Skyline out in the semifinals 35-30 last year. Hillcrest gets all the way to the final, loses a BK. Hillcrest loses a bunch of seniors. They're back in the championship game 2 years in a row. Skyline always in a championship situation, right? It's like, sound the alarm because it's a championship situation. Happens a lot with Skyline, and Skyline's just had such a dominant performance. I think it's just it's a game. They know each other. It's crosstown. It's a rivalry game. It's just got everything that you want in a football game. And we talk so much about previous games, right? We talked about this a lot last night in Gem State about the revenge or avenge games,
right?
But I think it's when it's a crosstown rivalry, you just throw that out the door. Skyline beat Hillcrest early in the season. I'll be honest, in talking to coaches and stuff, I mean, Hillcrest turned the ball three times. They don't do that. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
And some other things. So I feel like this game is like, get the popcorn, get the Coca-Cola or that big brown box, right? When me and Joel are up in the press box, someone always comes back with this big brown box of burger and fries, right?
Except the whole ICCU dome, they're not hooking us up there, man. What's up with that?
But get 2 boxes, buckle in, because man, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's everything you want in a football game. And I'm not saying any of these other ones are any less exciting. I just think at this level, at this 5A level, and just the storylines leading into this and them knowing each other, it's just great. And I got some more insights. Like I said, I'm going to save some of it.
Yep. Save it.
Yep. I'm going to save some of it. You're going to have to tune in.
Totally.
Friday night, 8:15, probably 8:30. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
right.
Me, Joel, and Paul Kingsbury will be there. And I'm super excited. So that's the one I'm kind of focused in on.
Right on. I'm focused on Westside Declo, Sean.
That'd be my number 2.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you took Skyline Hillcrest, which is I thought you would, which is fine. I'll go with Westside Declo. It's a similar situation, not in the same city, but the same conference, right? And not the same district, but again the same conference. This year, Declo joined Westside. Stop me if you've heard this before, Sean. Actually, don't stop me because I'm on a roll, man.
Okay, go.
Yeah, Declo joins Westside because they were tired of playing Wendell in the same conference year after year. I know that was a little bit different. Valley jumped up there for a little bit, but so they joined when everyone went up a conference level. Declo joins the Southeast Idaho Conference. Declo is technically in East Idaho, right, Sean? And
makes the best conference in 3A football, basically.
Exactly. It's just a juggernaut of a conference. And I almost said the SEC, but man, SEC bias is killing me right now, so I'm not going to say SEC. Big 12, baby. Okay, I'm just kidding. So yeah, Declo joins the West Side and the Aberdeens, and it just becomes a juggernaut of a conference. Mollad even, who got to the conference playoffs this year, or the 3A playoffs. But I love that Declo joins the big powerhouse conference and just makes it even better. Between Westside and Declo, Sean, 10 titles between the two teams since 2010. Just absurd. Of course, this is 2A, and now this year will be 3A. And I think there's a little bit of, maybe not in the players, but the fans. Like, don't you want to be the first team to win that 3A championship in this new classification? I think that'd be so rad.
I mean, that's funny you said that, because all I've been thinking about since school started is I want a trophy that says 5A on it. So they've changed them, right? They had one that had this bronze trophy of a tennis player. Then they went to this gold cheap one. It was bad. And now they've just went to this bigger Idaho, and I've got all of them. Yeah. Except one that says 5A.
That's what you need, man.
I've been thinking about it, and I mean, that's the problem. Like, it never goes away. If you watched 8-man coach Lane Kirkland, we got a broadcast with him. You could tell, like, even though he's not coaching, like, it doesn't go away. Yeah. And it's the same for me. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely you want to do it. And these are the two teams that have been, the dominant teams in whatever classification you want to call it, wherever they've been playing. And, it's a little different now, but these two teams, they clashed big time earlier. They talked, a lot of people are big on Declo. Some of the other experts I talked to have picked Declo. This isn't a game where you get a dominant answer. I get a lot of 50-50 on this game, which makes it just enticing.
Yeah, I don't know which game is going to be better. I cannot wait. I'll be broadcasting with you, Skyline Hillcrest, and we'll also be doing Westside Declo. Just awesome matches, man. And remember, Westside has won 4 of the past 5 titles in 2A, and now this year we'll see if they can win 5 of the past 6 in 3A. But yeah, if I'm Westside Declo, a little bit of that, especially maybe in the coaches, like how cool would it be to have that 3A trophy, right? Be the first ones to have that. That's really cool. So I can't wait for that matchup. Sean, I can't remember when. I know it's Friday, but I can't. Is that the first game? That's the first game. And
yeah, so it'll be
the second game.
Yeah, Westside Declo will be 5:15, ICCU Dome. Joel, Paul, and I there in large and in charge. And then after that, if we're, don't have any heart attacks or anything, Paul's okay, we'll move on to the Skyline Hillcrest. I feel like both games are going to be very well attended. I just feel like Skyline Hillcrest on a Friday night in the Dome is going to be,
it's going to be electric.
It's going to be packed. I'm just interested to see it. I do have to go one. No, I'll save it. Go ahead.
Okay, I love it. Hey, save it for the people. So yeah, just so everyone knows, these games are going to be broadcast live on IdahoSports.com, audio only. You'll hear Sean Kane, Paul Kingsbury, and myself doing the 5:15 Westside versus Declo, and then the 8:15 or 8:30, depending on how many overtimes Westside Declo gives us. Skyline Hillcrest. Again, Sean Kane, Paul Kingsbury, and myself will be on the audio-only call on IdahoSports.com for that game as well. Going to be an awesome Friday night. And then Thursday, it's going to be Dietrich, Cary. Obviously, those aren't East Idaho games, but myself and Paul are going to be on those calls. Paul Kingsbury and myself will be on those calls as well tomorrow night, and that's at 7:00 Mountain Time.
They just call it Perkins Woods 2 or something, right?
Perkins versus Wood for sure.
2, because I already played once this year. Call it
That's
2.
Right.
That'll be a good one. Like those on our teams, but I think that'll be exciting game no matter what happens, and you're just in for a little treat to see both those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I love it. Sean, this is going to be one of our shortest prep casts we've had since I think our first or second of the season.
I mean, you tell me that, Joel, but I know how you are.
We're going to do this. Yeah, between you and me, we can't stop talking, man. All right, so that's football. Again, folks, if you want more football, go to the Gem State Game Day prep cast that went live last night. It's recorded. It's on the IdahoSports.com website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, X account. You can get all the football you want in there. Myself, Sean, and a host of other Idaho sports broadcasters are on that show, giving all of our terrible takes. So we're gonna pivot, Sean, and we're gonna move to girls basketball. Man, it is basketball season. Most teams have played at least one game. Some have already played 2 games. We already have some teams 0-2, 1-1, 2-0. I mean, the season is long, but man, watch out, because we're going to blink a few times and suddenly it's going to be, districts in January, right? So let's do a little preview show, if you will, Sean. We'll get more information as the weeks go on, especially as we get into December. But we wanted to do a little preview show for everyone out there tonight of the most intriguing girls basketball teams here in East Idaho. Sean, let's start with 6A. Who do you got for most intriguing in 6A in the District 5-6 conference?
Well, I think that District 5-6, you've got kind of a lot of young talent. And kind of in our pregame notes, I mentioned some teams, and there's some other teams I'm kind of thinking of too. The season's very young. The team I kind of was intrigued with was Madison. I felt like they did really well at the state tournament as an 8th seed. I broadcast that. I was impressed. They were all underclassmen except one senior, so that means pretty much everyone came back. That senior, though, did handle the ball a lot. So, it's kind of interesting. Rigby loses some big seniors. Cambry Barber and Mealy Graham. Man, they were phenomenal for Rigby. But Rigby also brings back a host of youth. So those are the teams I'm kind of interested in. in the 6A. And then I think Thunder Ridge and Highland are in the mix too. I don't have a real like great feel of who emerges out of this conference. In years past, you kind of knew, like last year, you kind of knew it was Rigby.
Yeah,
because Rigby
right.
used to lose. This year, I don't feel like really swayed one way or the other, and it's hard to know. It's early, and I think a lot of the teams are young in 5 and 6, 6A.
And remember, folks, both Boise and Rigby are not Boise. Rigby and Madison, like you said, John, played Boise well. Boise ended up getting third place. Rigby lost that game, 53-48. It was a close game, but Boise ends up being third place. So that's nothing to shake your head at, especially if you're young teams.
Yeah, Rigby had a great tournament. Madison played Boise super hard. That first round game, the 1 versus the 8, it was 10-31, but Madison had chances and really pushed Boise, who had Avery Howell, the McDonald's All-American player, and she's phenomenal. But they did a good job, and then Boise beat Rigby, and I think Rigby kind of had a letdown after the semifinal. It was just kind of hard to get going. They felt like they should have been in the final, and they had chances too. But the seniors on Rigby played an important role. It'll be very intriguing to see how the newer players fit into the mold there.
Definitely. Can't wait to see that. Let's go to 5A, Sean. Who is the most intriguing team to you in 5A District 6 High Country Conference?
Man, I was going to say a totally different team. Until I was looking at results. And now the most intriguing team to me is because I've seen them live is Idaho Falls.
No way. You saw them play against Century last week.
Yeah, Idaho Falls is off to a 3-0 start. They beat Canyon Ridge. They beat Century. It was a pretty competitive game against Century, and they beat Madison, I think, by 1 or 2 points just the other night. A Madison team, which I would have expected maybe to win that game.
Right.
So Idaho Falls is very intriguing to me. But with that being said, I think Idaho Falls is now a dark horse team to me. I find there's a few teams I find kind of interesting. Obviously, being from Pocatello, I have to bring up the Thunder, right? The Pocatello Thunder, they bring back everyone. They only lost, a couple seniors, but they weren't, they weren't the major workhorses of that team. And you've got Abby Lusk, which might be one of the best basketball players in the state, if not East Idaho. So I find them really intriguing for District 5. And then, District 6, and we'll talk about this all year. Who knows, right? I mean, last year it was definitely Shelley, Brindley Cannon, Mia Williams. Those girls are gone. They've got, a little different team. Jessica Carlson, phenomenal coach. I was asking someone who lives in Shelley the other day. It's actually our resource officer. He's from Shelley. Nice. And I'm like, how do you think the basketball team's going to be? And he goes, well, is Jessica coaching? I go, yeah, she is. And he's like, well, they'll be good. So
just fine.
I think those are teams too. And then of course you've got Skyline. That's always in the mix. Shay Shippen comes back for her senior year. They lose her sister and some other people. I think height might be an issue for that Skyline team. I don't know. You say that in girls basketball, but then when you get to it, I don't know how much of a difference it makes.
Right.
In the way basketball is played now with 3-pointer,
everyone goes out.
Everyone's like height, and then it's not like we were at state last year and we're talking about dominant height. We're talking about, guards that can shoot threes and dish the rock, handle it. Right. So, it'd be pretty interesting. And Shay Shippen obviously can do all those things and go inside. So they're interesting as well. I mean, there's a District 6. Good luck. District 5, I definitely think Pokey's the team to beat. I think Pocatello might be the team to beat in the 5A classification. Going forward, they have. I don't know if there's a roster that's better than the Thunders at 5A. I talked to our friend Ryan Skaggs about it. You've got Sandpoint, you got Lakeland. Remember, Lakeland upsets a really good Sandpoint team that was the defending champions and doesn't even get a play in the state tournament. But they lost a lot of those seniors and they're young, but they're coached by Will Love, which if you ever get a chance to talk to Will Love, he's a basketball genius and they'll be good too. But for 5A, man, the Thunder, the team, I think you got to be looking to make a deep run.
Yeah, and remember the Thunder, they lost to a really good Skyline team, Sean, by 3. And then Skyline ended up losing to Shelley. This is in the state tournament last year of girls basketball. Skyline ends up losing to Shelley by 10. So yeah, Pocatello definitely going to make some noise. I am curious also, intriguing wise, yeah, how do Shelley and Skyline bounce back off of losing so many good seniors? Obviously, you already mentioned the players Skyline has. Shelley still has some players as well, but are they enough? Does Skyline's Shea Shippen and sophomore Macy Marlowe, do they have enough to overtake that senior heavy squad of Kennison Garza, Sage Hadler, Adri Johnson, and then junior, possibly the best basketball player, like you say, in the state of Idaho, Abby Lusk? Does Skyline and Shelley also seniors Mia Williams and Kaylee Packer coming back? Do those Skyline and Shelley, do they have enough around them? Maybe coming up from JV that we don't know about, right? Until we really get those preview shows going. Do they have enough support, utility players to overtake a senior heavy and experience heavy Pocatello team? So I'm with you. I think those 3 teams are intriguing, and I like the Idaho Falls kind of black horse pick, and also Blackfoot. Sean, Blackfoot's, they had a good season and they played Skyline pretty well in that district tournament. You and I broadcasted some of those games.
Yeah.
Blackfoot's good, and I can't remember their name of their tall. I think she was a junior last year, so I think she's a senior this year. But she's really good, and she's a presence underneath, and she made some things difficult for Skyline's Shea Shippen early in that first half of that game. They learned to work around her. She got in some foul trouble, and so she didn't end up being a huge factor later on in that game. But Blackfoot also, like it was for girls basketball, Sean, and volleyball. It's just, you really never know on any given night.
Yeah.
Someone's going to beat somebody else.
District 6, when you look at District 6 as a whole, you have a lot of seniors that left. You talk about Blackfoot, you had Miley Piper, who was their senior last year.
Yeah,
They're kind
she
of
was so good.
do-it-all person. She's gone.
Yep.
And Skyline, I think Skyline brings back one of the best, players probably in District 6 and one of the better players in the state, and Shea Shippen. She's a good tennis player as well. But
nice.
You can have the player, but do you have the team, right?
Exactly.
This will be the theme throughout basketball. Teams will have the player, but you have the team to play defense, stop the other players, because it doesn't matter if you score 40 if the other team scores 41. So I think that's going to be District 6. I think the team that molds together, because it's going to be a lot of different teams beside in District 6. Idaho Falls was young last year, and they brought back kind of a lot too. That's kind of why they're my dark horse and seeing them. But a team that brings back the most, I think, really in the state would be the Thunder. So
yeah.
In 5A, anyways, yeah,
right. And I peeped their record, Sean. Blackfoot's schedule. Blackfoot girls basketball is already 2-0. So similar to Idaho Falls, right? Idaho Falls 3-0, Blackfoot 2-0 already. Blackfoot beat your Century Diamondbacks 47-22, and then Blackfoot also defeated Thunder Ridge 41-33 in their first game. So yeah, Blackfoot's there, man. All right, Sean, let's go down to 4A. Who are any teams in 4A that are of interest to Districts 5 and District 6?
I mean, Snake and Teton, they played in the final, right? Snake leaves. Riley Ellison, right? The player of the year senior. She's gone. Teton loses some seniors. They're the kind of in the throne seats right now, but the people that were occupying the throne have since left. How do we fill that throne? Does it open it up from some other teams? I still kind of feel like a Teton is a team that is good. Snake River last year, I don't think had one senior on their team, or not Snake River. Sugar Salem didn't have a senior. They were young and quick, so Sugar Salem might be in the mix there too. But Teton, I find very intriguing.
Right on. And Snake, yeah, can they recover right from last year from losing so many players? Let's go down to any other teams? I think that would be 3. Yeah, let's go down to 3A. Who are your teams of most interest in 3A, whether the Newt Conference or the Southeast Idaho Conference?
Yeah, in that 3A level was just a phenomenal year last year for 3A. In East Idaho, you had Bear Lake, play North Fremont, which is a big, not a big surprise, but they made it to the final. It was a really close game. They beat number 1 Grangeville 43-42 in the semi. That was a great game. So those teams are very interesting to me. And the one, Ken Wells has popped in here before, is Bear Lake. A lot of those volleyball girls are just fresh off a dominating season, are going to be back playing basketball. Sadie Shaw was phenomenal last year as a junior. She's a senior for Bear Lake. Bear Lake only had 1 senior last year, so they're pretty much coming back. I'm pretty excited to see what Bear Lake can do this year. I think it's a team you're gonna be not surprised if they're doing well at the end.
Yeah, totally. And I failed to mention, Sean, Snake River and Teton have played each other. I had to check that, so I was kind of stuttering there for a second. Snake already did play Teton. Teton absolutely demolished Snake River. That final score was a lot to a little in their first game of the regular season. So anyway, how to shout that out really quick. So that's interesting. Snake River starting 0-1. Teton.
So I was right with Teton, is what you're saying.
Exactly. And yeah, how is Snake going to recover from last year, from losing all those great players last year? Okay. Bear Lake is of interest to you. I'm also interested, Sean, in North Fremont. They had a great run last year, surprising run, right? Their star, Josie Richardson, of course, last name, come on, had a great year. Unfortunately, and that was that game in the tournament where they upset the 1 seed Grangeville. I think it was that tip-in, right, Sean? That ended up winning that game 43-42, the rebound and tip-in to win that. But unfortunately, their star player, Josie Richardson, she's out. I heard from North Fremont's football coach that she's out with a knee injury for the year, I believe, which is just super unfortunate because that North Fremont team, man, they have players coming back, including Josie Richardson. I was looking at them to maybe be a dark horse, if not a favorite.
Yeah, that'll be tough. But you've seen this throughout the year where players go out and she'll probably be on the bench as a valuable coaching asset. And, sometimes you need a little something to play for and maybe motivate those girls around her and still be able to do big things.
Yeah. And just, FYI, I did peep the schedule. And so far they lost to Butte County by 55-50. Butte County is obviously a really good girls basketball team. And then they absolutely crushed Aberdeen 61-29. So Coach Ben Lenz, the dude's smart. He's done football in the past, right? For a long time. We've talked to him a few times, and he'll find a way to get these girls up and ready for obviously the season and then for district play. But shout out to Josie Richardson. We hope she recovers well and she provides that good coaching, and who knows, maybe she'll be able to come back this year, but if not, hopefully she can be a good coach on that bench, because I believe this is unfortunately her senior year as well. All right, Sean, let's go down to 2A. Now, of course, this is the new 2A. It used to be 1A D1. Now it's 2A. Who's your team of most interest in 2A?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to go with Butte. I'm going to go with Butte County. It's always so hard. Like Grace Wright wins last year. It was a senior heavy team. So they're, it's going to be a different look for Grace. And Butte it was good last year. It's just unfortunate they have to play Grace to get into the state tournament. So I'm going to say let's keep an eye out for the Butte County team out of Arco there. See what they can come up with.
I like it. Yeah. So Grace won the 1A D1 state tournament last year. But yeah, like you said, Sean, they lost 5 seniors, including I think the 2 tallest players in 1A D1, now 2A. But they do return juniors Tessica Jorgensen and junior Callie Stoddard, who both played well in the tournament. I was looking back at their stats, and that should be 2 quality returners coming back for their as juniors. They were sophomores last year. But Grace has defeated Westside so far. They lost to Soda. That was a close game. I think it was this week, if not last weekend. But I like that pick, Sean, of looking at Butte County as intriguing. Can they get off? Can they get over that hump and beat Grace, get off the schneid, if you will, and in that District 6 conference in 2A and beat Grace, and get to the state tournament. All right, Sean, the last classification, 1A, used to be 1A D2. Now it's 1A for girls basketball. There's a lot of teams, man. There's 15 teams, just like in volleyball. Which team or teams, because there's so many, is most intriguing to you in that Rocky Mountain Conference?
Oh, I mean, it's been dominated by, Rockland, Mackey, kind of a theme throughout. Rockland's always on the cusp of maybe winning a state championship. So I find Rockland, they took the consolation trophy home over their conference opponents, Water Springs, which had kind of a good upstart, making it to the tournament. Yeah. And so I'm going to kind of go Rockland, but I wouldn't be surprised, if you had a Grace team. A lot of those same volleyball girls will be playing basketball. Have a Grace team or a Ledor team. You've got so many cast of characters. It's like an episode of Friends. You just don't know who's going to come into the coffee shop.
Totally. I like it. And yeah, last year, Rockland won that consolation, defeating Salmon River 62-33. Mackey was in that. Mackey played Rockland. Rockland beat them. And of course, the champions were Kendrick, and then Dietrich was the runner-up. Deary Council. Deary won that third place. And no other teams were in that winner's bracket of the tournament last year. So yeah, Rocky Mountain Conference and that 1AD2 has some work to do. But I like that pick for Rockland being as the consolation champs last year of making some noise this year. Sean, any other thoughts for girls basketball before we close?
Tomorrow night I'll be PAing the Century Shelley game, so I'll get a look at Jessica Carlson's team live Perfect. In person. Century team is young as well. They're going to have some freshmen playing in there, so they're kind of gearing their new kind of team gelling. So that'll be a fun game. So I'm excited to see Shelley. The year after the championship. Yeah. The year after the potato. I think girls basketball it starts really fast. It gets overlooked because it's the championship in semifinals of state football happens. So you kind of don't really think about it, and it doesn't come up a lot. But and basketball is a long season, right? You're going to have a lot of games, and the first games they matter, right? Every game matters, but even if it's not exactly how you want it, you've got time to coach those players and get things happening. So it's always interesting. You always see a lot of different storylines develop in girls basketball as time goes. But I think here in East Idaho, you had a very heavy senior class of characters in all the divisions last year, and we're gonna have a whole new cast. It's like Saved by the Bell of the college years, and they had to bring in other people, right? Zach Morse is still there, Shay Shippen, right? Always kind of in the show. But we're going to have a lot of new people, and it's going to be exciting to, talk about these new ladies and their roles on all the different teams.
Love it. And if I can put a plug for Sean's metaphors. Sean, you always have the best metaphors, man. I want to become a Sean Kane metaphor user.
I had the best.
My goodness.
I had the best one for the 8-man Prepcast. I said
the airplane. That was so good.
I said Woods from Carey was using his off arm more than his actually throwing arm. He's directing the planes in Top Gun. Like, it's very difficult to land on that aircraft carrier, but Woods never. So good. Every plan landed gently. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and then Brandon turns around and says, "Oh, you should have used that on the broadcast." Like, yeah, well. Sometimes it takes ball for a good metaphor to gel, Usually
I get a few in there. I mean,
you do, man.
I'm kind of nervous for Friday. Like, I don't want to be like metaphoring the championship game, right? Probably, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but Sweetwood for Hillcrest. I mean, that's just really, I got a lot going on there.
No,
I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
I can't wait. Hey, don't get nervous, okay? If you get nervous, Sean, then you'll be too worried about making a mistake, and then you'll make a mistake, and then you'll be sad about your mistake. So just play the game. Have fun out there. Have you ever seen me really nervous though, Joel? It's funny because you and I both talked to coaches this week, And I think and now folks, we're giving a little nugget here. We'll talk about this again on the broadcast, but every coach I've talked to this week about the championship games this Thursday and Friday have said, our boys want them to play loose and not be so worried about winning the championship and being that special player and being that special team. Go out there, play your game, and have fun. You can't get all hung up on don't make a mistake, because what happens when you're so nervous? And Coach Kane, yeah. What happens when your players are getting so nervous about don't make a mistake because I don't want to blow up for my teammates or blow up for my coach or blow up for my parents or whatever, or my school or the fans? You end up making a mistake, right? Yeah. So Sean, you'll do a great job on the broadcast. Those metaphors will flow freely like the salmon of Capistrano.
Yeah, it's the biggest. It's probably the only thing I'm good at as coaching is keeping the guys and the girls loose out there. Is just my joking around, and my sense of humor unfortunately is a little sarcastic for some, but it's sometimes if you can't laugh at it, then what's it worth it? Like if you don't have at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, there's going to be lots of smiles and there's going to be lots of tears.
For sure.
But when you get a good look back at it, because I've been on both ends, Joel, if it resonates sad maybe this weekend, later on it'll definitely be something you'll be able to go back and smile on if you know what you did was the best you could do, and you just went out there and did what you love to do for 4 years or how many years, if you're a senior. Yeah. That's what it is. And maybe at the end of the weekend, it's not going to feel like that. But I can tell you, even coaches, players, you remember the losses way more than you remember the victories. Like Coach Kirkland was talking about the wins, his state championship wins. And I'm thinking, I couldn't even do that. But I could tell you all the times we lost.
Yeah.
Like detailed, like the weather, like what clothes I was wearing. Like I could tell you that because that's what remembers. But you got to remember at the end of whatever it is if the end of your career or it's just the end of the season, you'll smile later because it's the memories, the camaraderie, it's all the things that you've done that is way more important. Even if you never throw a ball or put on pads, again, it's just that moments that you had with teammates and coaches and being a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
I love it, Sean. Let's end with that. I did have one more comment on 3A basketball. Watch out for Wendell, by the way. They're already 2-0. Wendell High School girls basketball is always really good. I just had to throw a plug in there for Wendell because we didn't talk about Wendell at all this football season because, frankly, they weren't very good. But Wendell girls basketball going to be awesome. But, Sean, that's really good stuff about coaching, about focusing on being part of that community, those teams, those players, and having the chance to play something you love for four, at least 2-3, right? If not 4 years, that's a really special gift to have and stay healthy. And you and I have both talked about, there's been years in the past where some kids have gone out with bad injuries and it's been a little dicey there for a little bit. So to be able to play these sports, whether it's football or whatever, and be with the team and play for someone and play with someone is a really special gift. So enjoy it. And that's what we need to remember, despite the wins and losses that are definitely going to come up this championship weekend. Sean, you and I are going to be doing some broadcasting this Thursday, Friday. We've already talked about that, but one more plug. Be sure, folks, to check out IdahoSports.com game streams app. And then you can listen to the games live. You'll obviously have Decla Westside at 5:15, and then Skyline Hillcrest at 8:30. Sean Kane, Paul Kingsbury, and myself will be on those broadcasts. Should be a really good time. Should be great games. Some of the best games we've seen, if not the best games we've seen all year. Next week, Sean, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a Thanksgiving weekend break, and then we'll be back next week to start. We might do a quick shout out to the football games from this past weekend or from this weekend coming up, and then we'll be all in on girls basketball and then a little bit of boys basketball as tryouts and practices we'll have started, and we'll get
wrestling
and wrestling. But of course, there's the mat chat, and they'll be doing a lot of that wrestling. But we'll definitely plug wrestling as well. Sean, Thanksgiving plans? What are you doing?
Well, you're going to take a break, Joel. I'm going to be working. I'll be honest with you.
That's true.
I don't ever stop. No, just going to be at home. Just trying to, rest and recuperate. It's been a busy season, and now basketball starts, and I PA both boys and girls. So I always joke like I'm the only one that goes every night to the games. No one else comes every night but me. And so there's just a lot, but I love doing the PA job. It's pretty fun. It's something I didn't know I would like doing, and I do like it now. Obviously,
Cool.
obviously I like to talk because everyone gives me a hard time about it. I always got the check mark in elementary school, but you know what? It's paid off, Mrs. So-and-so first grade teacher.
That's right.
Paid off, dang it.
He was developing his talents, and no one knew it but himself. So Sean will be working PA. I'll be eating turkey, watching football, watching basketball. I'll be getting all juiced up and refreshed and ready for the following week, where we will come back for the East Idaho Prepcast Wednesday night. Maybe Sean will get back to our 7:30 time. Maybe we'll get it back if 8-man is done, but we'll see. We may still stick with the 8:30 one more time, but I think they are going next week. We're not. So I think we do get our that 7:30 slot, but we will see. But Sean, this has been fun. Our little East Idaho Prepcast After Dark has been a blast with you so far this fall season, now going into winter, man.
Yeah, it's been good. I've been doing this Prepcast for a while now. It started with Brandon, and then now you, and I don't know who they're going to get me next, Joel, but I hope you stay.
Totally, man.
It's hard to work with me. I get it, guys.
No
but
way,
man.
man.
It's been good, and yeah, I enjoy Thanksgiving. But before you drive away, click and like and subscribe. Get on IdahoSports.com, game streams. All the games will be on there, free for you to listen to, with the most in-depth analysis, the most, coaching experience. Right, me and Joel are football coaches. No, just so many. It's just so much good stuff. Like even if you're not a fan of one of the teams, the games are just fun to listen to because of all the guys at Idaho Sports. So definitely tune in. Hear those games, and we'll have to talk about it after Turkey Day.
I love it. That's Sean Kane. I'm Joel Richardson. Joel Richardson. I can't even say my own name, Sean. That's Sean Kane. I'm Joel Richardson, saying be excellent to each other. Have a great Thanksgiving break. Enjoy the games this weekend. Tune in, find out what happens, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on Idaho Sports.